Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. Is there any changes?
I'd like to add the city engineer report.
Okay. 6C. Engineer report. Council have any changes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that addition?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the July 20, 2022 regular meeting. See them in your packet. Is there any changes, corrections, or clarification needed?
Yeah, on page 8, right at the top, it has me voting for something and also absent. I was gone by that point in the meeting, so.
How did you do that?
I know, it's pretty tricky.
Okay, any other changes? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes with that correction?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shellen. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Public open forum, is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Public open forum is now closed. We have no public hearings. We'll move on to reports and presentations. Park Board report.
Okay, the Park Board met in regular session last night, Tuesday, August 2nd at 5 p.m. They talked about the campsite rentals. They're going to be recommending a 10% discount for those greater than 30 days. So we have a few people that will stay for 6 to 8 weeks. And so they would look for a 10% discount on that. They discussed the 2023, the campground staff, how that'll work with days and hours, whether they split the position a little differently than it currently is. They recommend that the tree memorial plaques be consolidated into one location, whether it be on the ground location or maybe on the side of a building. Something similar to what Centricare has. Centricare has that tree, and then you can have a little plaque for a donation and have that in lieu of having the plaques buried in the ground. They received the campground reservation update. Update on Hickman Park Playground. We haven't had a ship date yet on the playground. We hope to get it so they can install it this fall, but we don't know yet. The Civic Arena mural will be painted this fall. Now the guys did seal the seams, and so now they need to pressure wash the building, and then they can move forward with that. I don't have the schedule yet, other than it's supposed to be done yet this year. And then the Towerview Ball Field land purchase. We get closer. It's still a little bit uncertain. One of the sellers has yet to sign the purchase agreement because they have some contingencies. We'll see if we get that done. And that's it for the Park Board.
Okay, any questions? EDA report?
The EDA met today in regular session. They did meet with the Historical Society regarding funding requests that they have submitted to help stabilize the creamery building, kind of to keep it consolidated in place until their grant funding comes through. They did receive an offer to purchase real estate for a lot in the South Industrial Park. A closed meeting is scheduled for after tonight's meeting. They are recommending the TIF payment number 5 to Felling. That is the office building project. They did review the letter of intent for the Click Golf Course. We have sent back the counter proposal. And then we just had a very preliminary layout. Now is starting to work on the Meyer property. We had a little direction to go back on lot sizes on that. So we do have the TIF payment and then the closed meeting tonight as items on your agenda.
Okay, any questions on that? Okay, then we will go to the engineer report. Keith?
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. On the the South Industrial Park project, things are going well down there. The dirt crew finally showed back up on site and has been working part of last week and this week. Should be complete, I would say sometime next week will be complete with all the earthwork operations out there. They're doing the final pipe work out there. There's probably this week, next week, maybe a little into the following week before that is complete, and then they'll start into street work after that. In terms of overall schedule, certainly depends on them getting their subcontractors in for the street work, but they have certainly an ample opportunity to get the project done on time this fall, so things are going pretty well. One issue that did come up out there is we did run across some drain tile that came from the adjacent field to the west, kind of in the southwest corner of the project, so we are working with the city attorney and the landowners to figure out responsibility as it relates to, you know, what was in purchase agreements, those kinds of things. So we're working through that, whether we need to reroute that around and whose responsibility is. So that's one issue that just came up yesterday. So we're working through that. Otherwise, everything's going pretty well out there. On the capital improvement project 2022, things are on the first phase. Most all of the sidewalk and driveways are all in that phase. Just cleaning that up at this point. They'll be starting actually on topsoil and restoration yet this week and into next week. So that's going really well there. On the second phase, probably another next week with utilities through there, and then they'll start on street work after that on that second phase. And then that third phase, that rehabilitation section in phase 3, that's still scheduled for late August, early September to get started on that. So that's where that one's at. Vicki mentioned we're starting to work on the Meyer parcel, just some of the preliminary stuff of getting ready for that and putting together a preliminary plat. So those are where things are at. I can also tell you, let's see, there's some utility work on the capital improvement project here regarding lowering the electric lines. And the holdup was Charter had to get materials in order to lower those lines. They did receive that material in, I guess, just very recently. So they're working on time schedules, see if they can do it yet this fall, if that can all be lowered, or that might be next year before that is done. So, but that's in process for that. Let's see, we also learned that the Highway 71 project has been pushed back again. They're looking at a 2027 fiscal year for letting for that. So that would be, you know, essentially in July 2026 and beyond is when that project would start, assuming it stays on schedule. What that does mean strictly from a timing perspective is that we could consider potentially another project if that's something that council wishes to do kind of in between. We would have the ability to get something in between. There's some areas kind of on the east side of 71 are probably some of the next areas we'd want to look at, but that's just something to think about, and we can talk about that a little more earnest later on, but just keep that in mind. That probably gives us a window of opportunity to maybe slide another project in if you would like to do something like that. So that's really all I have. Any questions?
Questions? Concerns? Okay, thank you. Move on to action items. Approve request for road closure for Art on the Avenue.
So Pam Borgman, on behalf of Sauk Center Convention and Visitors Bureau, has requested that city approve the closure of Sinclair Lewis Avenue from Main Street to Oak Street on Saturday, September 17th, from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. for its annual Art on the Avenue event. If approved, the request will be forwarded to Stearns County because it is a county road. So what we're looking here is to approve the road closure for Art on the Avenue, September 17th.
Questions? Concerns? Is there a limit on the number of times we can ask for a road closure?
No. There used to be.
Okay.
That was removed.
Because I was, you know, with each one of the bars that have an outdoor event, we limit that to 3 per summer, and I was just wondering if we're getting to the point where we're going to have to put a limit on anyone else that's asking for road closures.
We have like, this is Art on the Avenue, that's the CVB, and then the Chalk Fest is, I believe,
510
Art Lab.
Okay.
And so they're different events with a lot of the same people, but different
Entities.
events. So we're not really having one do everything at this point. So I don't know how we would count them, but it's something
Right.
we can look at.
Okay.
Just a lot happens on Sinclair Lewis Avenue.
It just always that one block, yeah. So There isn't any other questions or comments. Do I have a motion to approve road closure for Art on the Avenue on September 17th?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Heidi, seconded by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7B, approve ordinance 813 establishing moratorium on sale of cannabinoids.
So on July 1st, 2022, it became legal in the state of Minnesota for these cannabinoids derived from hemp in edible form. So a lot of times is the THC, you know, you hear people talk about the edibles, and that's what that is. The new law has various restrictions. However, many cities are looking at ways to regulate the sale of products, and a lot of the cities in Stearns County have now adopted moratoriums, and then actually the chiefs of police are getting together to kind of talk about this and what those regulations should look like, so we can all have a consistent ordinance kind of across the county. So we do liquor, we do wine, beer, and tobacco, but if we want to regulate this hemp with the THC in it, that we should look at an ordinance. We can do an ordinance with or without a moratorium. The moratorium just kind of means we're not going to be really allowing it until we have the rules in place. So that's kind of an option for you to think about. I did talk to the chief, and he is recommending that we do pass the moratorium, just to give them time. And the moratorium is for a year, but they're hoping by the end of this year to have a consistent ordinance that all the different cities can agree upon, so that they can have that in place in their cities, and then it's consistent from city to city. Otherwise, people will just jump to the city next door to get a different rule. So that's why we want to be the same. So I do have an ordinance in your packet, 813, if you wish to adopt the ordinance for the moratorium. Otherwise, I'd recommend we still continue to work with the other communities to have a consistent ordinance.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Would this moratorium be sundown or sunset if they did come to a consensus and then we put a date?
If you have a moratorium ordinance, it'll either expire on that date or the date an ordinance is in place. So one of the whereases in a ordinance that follows a moratorium is a clause that repeals the moratorium.
Any other questions, comments? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the moratorium.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Shellen, seconded by Joel, to consider adoption of the ordinance 813 establishing a moratorium. Any other comments or questions? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7C, approved bylaw amending ratifying fire pension increase.
So the Sauk Center Fire Relief has presented for approval an amendment to their bylaws to increase the annual benefit. The annual benefit is the amount that's paid out to retiring firemen times their years of service. So the attached scenario shows funding that would remain at 105.9% of the annual benefit if it were raised to $2,800. The current is $2,550, so that's an increase of $250. In that calculation, they actually projected a decrease in the value of the investments, and they still remain positive as far as the amount of money that they would need. And this is a scenario as if all the firemen retired tomorrow. And so that's really how this is based. So they're fully funded. So what we're looking to do here is to ratify the bylaw amendment, increasing the annual pension benefit to $2,800 for 2023.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to ratify the bylaw amendment?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries 4 in favor, none against, 1 abstention. 7D, approve cooperative agreement with DNR for boat ramp improvements.
So this is for the public boat landing at Sinclair Lewis Park, and it does need repairs. Due to boaters, they actually power load their boats onto their trailers, and that causes a lot of erosion at the end of the boat ramp. Makes large holes, actually, and then when other people back too far into the lake, their wheels drop off into those holes. So we did request assistance from the DNR, and they presented us a cooperative agreement. And in that cooperative agreement, the state will allow us to install 35 1x12 concrete planks And then they'll also 5 by 12 planks. So those planks will be placed side by side going down into the lake. The state will also provide the necessary hardware. They'll deliver them to the site, and then they'll give us technical assistance to install it. So ongoing maintenance would be the responsibility of the city. Then we did get a quote to have an excavator come in and help to haul out the existing concrete, to bring in the rock, and to install the new. So that estimate, and we've only received one back so far, but it's $3,100 is what approximately our cost would be to take advantage of this cooperative service agreement and bring the boat landing up to par. So if you wish to proceed with the cooperative service agreement with the DNR to get this in motion, we do have that contract in front of you. So that is to authorize execution of the cooperative agreement with the Department of Natural Resources for the public water access improvements.
Questions?
Aside from the actual manpower time, is the amount you just mentioned the only?
Yeah, that's a contract. And, you know, we'll probably be there with the tool cat to move a few things around, but that part will be more insignificant, I think.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Do I have a motion to authorize the execution of the cooperative agreement?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Shellen, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7E, approved tax increment payment.
So in May of 2018, we created Tax Increment District 1-12 as an economic development district and entered into an agreement with Felling Trailers to reimburse them for the development costs incurred in the construction of the new office building at Felling Trailers as part of their plant services. The agreement was in the form of a tax increment note, and that note was payable back to them for out of tax increment earned. So the first payment from the 2022 payable taxes is $25,123.55. It is due in August. This is the 5th of 18, so it is a 9-year district. So this is the 5th of 18 payments on a semi-annual basis. The second installment from the 2022 payable taxes will be due in February. So what we're looking tonight is to approve payment number 5 to Felling Trailers for $25,123.55, and this was recommended also by the EDA.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve payment number 5?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7F, authorize execution of downstream defender agreement.
So as part of the conditions of our watershed permit for the 2022 street project, we need to enter into a maintenance agreement for the management and maintenance of the stormwater management infrastructure. What we're talking about here is the downstream defender. That is the structure that is being put by the trail by Elm and Park. Kind of Elm Street doesn't go all the way through, but at that location. This is meaning the city will agree to maintain the infrastructure to keep it in proper operating condition. And the rules include inspections and then removal of solids and debris and repair. And then the watershed can also come and inspect it. If they don't, you know, they'll give us notice of things they need us to improve. And if we don't approve it, they'll do it and bill us. So kind of the same type of agreement as all our other facilities that we have. So we're looking to authorize the execution of this agreement with Sauk River Watershed District for the maintenance of the stormwater facility.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to authorize the execution of the agreement?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. No unfinished business, new business, budget workshop.
So we're working on the 2023 budget. On July 25th, the budget worksheets with all their year-to-date information was provided to all the department heads. I'm requesting those back by August 15th. That gives them 3 weeks to get that put together. And then I will turn those around and get those back out to the Finance Committee by August 19th, which is that Friday. What we need to do is to set Finance Committee to meet and review, and then also the budget workshop for the full council. And then on September 7th or the 21st is when the council meeting would actually adopt that preliminary budget. So those are kind of the dates, and I think at a council level, we should set the budget workshop meeting with the full council. Mm-hmm. And then based on when that is, we'll get the Finance Committee together prior to that for their recommendation. In the past, we've done like the odd Wednesday during the month. We've also done like a Thursday. Usually they're about 5 o'clock. They're not as late in the evening, but we invite the department heads to come in then and present their budget. So I don't know if you have, whether you want to meet later in August on the budget workshop or if you want to wait till in September. But we have to have our levy in by the end of September, but because we meet on the 7th and the 21st, it makes sense that we actually adopt it at one of our regular meetings.
Comments?
I'm open.
Got 5 Wednesdays this month, so I mean, we got the 24th and 31st. So we're gonna have that extra Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, we could go,
Either of those is
Maybe the
fine with me.
31st
Go
gives
to
you a little more time after the
31st.
19th to
Yeah.
review everything.
yeah, give us a little more time. Yeah, that's fine with me.
August 31st.
August 31st.
You want to do that at like 5 o'clock then, or?
Time
Yeah.
wise work, good?
Yeah.
5 o'clock?
Fine with me.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
We'll set a different time for the finance committee
Yeah,
before that.
yeah, we'll get that beforehand. So,
That one's August 32nd, isn't it?
yes,
It is the first day of school for you with children. by the way.
Oh,
Ooh.
great.
August 31st is?
Yes.
They don't give a lot of homework first day. We should be all right.
okay. Any other comments on that? Otherwise, we'll go to the consent agenda. We have schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $803,612.47 for a total of the same. We have resolution number 2022-68, accepting contributions of $136.36 from the men's card playing group to be allocated to the senior center, and $715 from the Zilka family to be allocated to Shade Tree Fund. On behalf of the city and the council, I want to acknowledge those contributions and thank those two groups. We also have gambling application for exempt permit requests from the Pumpkins and Monkeys Nursery School for a raffle for October 30th, 2022 at Holy Family School. Is there any questions about the consent agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Shellen, do I
I'll
have a
second.
second? Diane seconded it. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Informational items.
Just a couple things. We have the Spectrum channel lineup changes. That is attached. You can read that at your leisure. We have the state demographer population estimate, and this is always a year behind. So April 1st, 2021, they estimate our population is 4624. The direct voting has begun as of yesterday, August 2nd through 8th. You can vote here at City Hall during regular business hours and Saturday from 10 to 3 if you don't want to vote on Election Day. And then the candidate filing period for 2 council and the mayor is August 2nd through the 16th. So those are the informational items that I have.
Okay,
Vote early, vote often.
okay, we will now recess our regular meeting and enter into closed session. Okay, we will reconvene our regular council meeting after being in closed session and discussing with staff. We have resolution 2022-68 authorizing the execution of the documents, whereas the city of Sauk Center and Paul Straits have entered into an agreement for the sale of certain property legally described as Lot 1, Block 4, South Sauk Center Industrial Park, Stearns County, Minnesota, according to the recorded plat thereof. And whereas in order to complete the closing transaction, city officials must also execute the closing documents. Therefore, it be resolved that the City of Sauk Center City Council desires to complete the closing to convey the property, and that Warren Stone Mayor and Vicki Willer, City Administrator, are authorized to execute all related closing documents. And I will need a motion for that resolution.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shellen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries 4 in favor, none against, 1 abstention. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against, meeting adjourned.